Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today I'm going to be doing a meta review of the GTX 780. I'm going to be comparing specs, benchmarks, and prices with other GPUs, and there are some interesting software additions to talk about. Now, the 780 is not a next generation Maxwell Nvidia card, it is still a Kepler platform. However, it is the second GK110 chipset designed for the consumer market, the first being the GTX Titan. Here is a comparison chart from the official GeForce website comparing the 780 with its closest competitors in the GeForce lineup of GPUs, the Titan and the 680. And the following chart from Tom's Hardware is an even more comprehensive look at high-performing GPUs in relation to the 780. You can already see the titanic origins of the 780, but it has 500 fewer CUDA cores, 3 gigs of memory compared to 6 from the Titan, fewer texture units and shaders, but it does have a higher default core clock speed. Now, a lot of you liked it when I used Paint in my last GPU comparison video, so here is another graph I drew in Paint comparing the 780 to existing 600 models and upcoming 700 models. Now here we have some in-game benchmarks at 1080p and 1600p from the official GeForce website. The numbers may be a little bit inflated because again it is the official product webpage, but you can notice a 20 to 30% improvement over the next closest GeForce GPU, which is the GTX 680. Now this is a Tom's Hardware benchmark when they tested a single GPU against an SLI setup. What's shocking is that the 780 comes within 2 frames of the Titan in a single GPU configuration, and it comes within 3 frames of the Titan in an SLI setup. Now, after looking at a lot of benchmarks across different websites, I've come to the reasonable conclusion that the 780 is 10 to 15% faster than the 7970, 20 to 25% faster than the 680, and only 5 to 10% slower than the GTX Titan. And as mentioned previously, this is controlling for overclocking and multi-GPU setups. The 780 will also come with a lot of software. The GeForce Experience, which was a previous standalone download, will come with the drivers of the GTX 780. For those of you who are not familiar with the GeForce Experience, you run your game through the GeForce Experience and it will make all in-game optimization settings for you, like what level of anti-aliasing you should use, whether you should enable PhysX, whether you should turn on tessellation, and so on and so forth. But the GeForce Experience has been known to make errors, like it has been known to undervalue your GPU, like set a lower setting than your GPU is capable of, or set a intense setting that your GPU can't use. So the GeForce Experience is definitely for newer PC gamers to lower the intimidation factor of adjusting graphical settings, but more experienced PC gamers will probably still want to make graphical adjustments themselves. Next, what's new in the GeForce Experience is Shadowplay. It's a recording software that is a lot more efficient than Fraps and Bandicam. You will only receive a 5 to 10% performance decrease, and the file sizes are going to be a lot smaller. This should make uploading to YouTube and streaming to Twitch a lot easier, but I already have a dedicated capture card in my machine and I don't think this software is going to replace it anytime soon. But this is a good incentive for those who are new to PC gaming that want to upload games to YouTube. Next, GPU Boost makes a return as GPU Boost 2.0, and this is a setting that allows your GPU to overclock itself as long as it is within a temperature, power, or voltage target, and you can make whatever settings you want. The fans on the GPU are very well interfaced with GPU Boost, and they will give you quiet performance or maximum temperature dispersion if that's what you're going for. So there are 2 ways in which you can look at price versus performance. If you compare the 780 with the 680 and the 7970, they present a mediocre to poor value because the 780 is $200 greater, but only 20% better than the 680 and 10% better than the 7970. But if you compare the 780 versus the Titan, it is an excellent bargain because you are within 5% of the Titan's performance and you are at $350 less. For 2 Titans, you can get 3 780s. So I think the value averages out in between the 2. It is an all-around good purchase in my eye. There previously was a very big void between the $450 GPU and the $1,000 GPU, and the 780 bridges that gap perfectly. The thing about the Titan was it was never a gaming focused card. It was made out of trimmed down supercomputer components, and all the CUDA cores made it really good for compute industries. The 780 still isn't that much of a gaming focused card because it in turn is a slimmed down Titan. AMD is generally a lot more gaming focused than Nvidia. When you're playing on PC, your GPU is never going to be 100% gaming focused because your PC is supposed to do more than just play games. Nvidia cards are especially good for video and photo editing because of all the CUDA cores. Even though the 780 isn't great value, it is very acceptable in terms of price per performance. Now, here are my recommendations for whether you should get the 780 or not. If you want to play at 1080p and 60 frames per second, a single 780 will do the trick. More than one 780 will be overkill. For multi-GPU solutions, 1080p and 120 frames if you have a high refresh rate monitor, or 1080p and 3D are good options. But if you want to play at really high resolutions like multi-monitor or 1440p, that is where the 780 will really shine. That's where most of the websites did their benchmarking. But the 770 and the 760 Ti are also due out very shortly, and they are supposed to be a lot better gaming optimized cards and better in terms of price per performance. Well, thank you so much for watching this commentary, guys. Be sure to leave this video a like rating if you enjoy, subscribe to my channel if you're new around here, and I'll see you next video.